Diablo, Lord of Terror.
And here we are, more than 20 years after a company named Blizzard North decided to steal the childhood of many of us with the release of a game that would become one of the greatest action RPG of its time, Diablo 2. And since September 2021, gamers have been blessed by a new version of this classic, with new updates, new quality of life features, and new HD graphics. And today, after hundreds of hours in, and a lot of mana potions, I wanted to show what this game really is about, and what one should expect by playing it, and hopefully help some of you out there decide if Diablo 2 Resurrected is worth your time or not. And we'll start with the story.
So, Marius, at last I find you.
Diablo 2 story takes place in the world of Sanctuary, a world built by the union of a renegade angel and a quite seductive demon, while legions of the burning hells are constantly trying to force their way in through trickery and lots of violence. A pretty nice place to live. And it is through amazing cinematics and a lot of, let's just say, old school narrated dialogues that this tale is brought to life.
Stay a while and listen.
The journey starts in a small rogue encampment, around which evil creatures had recently started awakening. And like most heroes, we kindly offer our help to the townsfolk and will start eliminating the vermin in every corner of the country, until we learn of a dark wanderer, a mysterious man who had been seen days ago, wandering around, and everything points out that he's in some way the source of all this evilness happening lately. And from this point on, our hero will do what he can to follow the bloody trail of this hooded man and uncover the dark burden he carries. From the forest of Kanduras to the desert around Lugolain, all the way to the not-so-funny swamp of Kurast, and finally, after a little detour in hell, in the Nordic country of the mighty and proud barbarians. This is more or less the route you'll have to follow. And while Diablo 2 story is not the most interactive one, with no cutscene or choices for the player that alter the story, it is very well written and the narration is great. It is true though that listening to all the dialogues takes a substantial amount of time, but I think that the surrounding lore is worth it, and it adds up nicely to the story shown in the cinematics, which are just amazing to watch, as always with Blizzard.
Now you know what I seek, Marius.
And for those of you who want to behold the true power behind 20 years of graphics evolution, or just play the game old school, a light touch on the G button will bring you back to the good old days, and allow you to really appreciate how good the remaster looks in comparison, either in terms of monsters, spell effects, or just the beautiful grass of the Act 1, while keeping the true and dark nature of the original game, and that goes also for the immersion, which is something on point in Diablo 2. As the way dungeons and maps are designed alongside the big density of foes on top of a dark and terrifying soundtrack makes the experience really unique and constantly challenging. Especially when you're still a low-level, fearful adventurer who's trying to figure out how the hell this game works, as Diablo 2 is not only hard, but will offer no tutorial or tips for the player, so everything must be learned the whole way, or you can cheat and go on YouTube, but even so, the game will challenge you more than once, from the choice of gear and skills to the annoying Act 2 boss, Duriel, that little bastard. Just expect it to be hard, and the moment you will start to enjoy your well-balanced build, able to wreck through the old Act 5 without any drop of blood from your hero, the nightmare difficulty will come and hit you like a shovel in the face. And I'm not yet talking about hell difficulty, where the gap is even bigger, with foes that will make you rage and think of crazy things like uninstalling the game. Speaking of you, El Countess,
your blood will boil.
But this level of challenge at every step of the game is a big part of what keeps me hooked so much to it. And mark my words, there is something about the progression in Diablo 2 that is extremely rewarding. Something that will keep you motivated to continue the grind further and further. Now one could ask, is this game too hard then? And if not, how are you supposed to overcome all these challenges? And for them I would answer, faith, my friend. and a lot of item farming, which usually starts at the end of Nightmare or early Hell, and mostly looks like killing bosses over and over until you get the drop you want. And obviously, all of this will depend on your luck, and perhaps your offering to the god of RNG. Now let's see what's behind all this farming stuff and speak about the pillars of this game, the things that I think makes Diablo 2 so great. Characters, skills, and items. And all of that starts with a choice from 7 unique classes, all of which have 3 different skill trees who combine active and passive abilities for a good variety of builds, ranging from the shape-shifting druid who strike foes with claws to the lazy summoner necro who prefers to keep his end clean. So many trees for so many builds. And while some might try to spread their skill points all around in order to have a funnier and more diversified character, it is not recommended, as first, the amount of points available to one character will sort of force you to focus on 1 or maybe 2 main skills in order to have enough points left for these skill synergies. Otherwise, your attack will not be strong enough to kill things in the late game. And second, you can only have 2 skills active on your bar, which make it a bit more difficult to use multiple attacks efficiently. And even if you can swap between skills with F keys, it's not the most practical way to handle abilities, unfortunately. So you'll likely end up with a build focused on only one attack, dealing either magical or physical damage, and that is kind of counterintuitive, as once in Nightmare or Hell difficulty, monster will often be immune to 1 or even 2 types of damage, so unless you play with a friend or have very good endgame gears, some of those monsters will be nearly impossible to kill, which is kind of bad and shows some of the limitation of a 20+ year game. Now, one thing that is nowhere near bad and that balances the somewhat limited playstyle of Diablo 2 is its great item system, where every single item can be equipped by any class, except for one specific item per class, like the Necromancer's portable bobblehead or the Barbarian's helmets. And that freedom is really interesting and opens up many possibilities and builds and goes for all types of items, including unique and set pieces. But for me, the real fun starts when speaking about the amazing and wonderful rune words. Rune words are as important for Diablo 2 as a second breakfast is for hobbits, and are a major part of the farming in the late game. They are items created by inserting specific runes in a basic white item with the appropriate number of sockets, and that combination can give place to some of the most useful and powerful items. So not only does this system give value to runes, but also to many types of normal items that would normally just be trash, and some of those rune words are such a game changer that you will understand why I said that this game was rewarding. And once you'll taste this sort of boost in power, which actually can come from unique item as well, you might become addicted to it, and therefore to Diablo 2. So with all those types of items to farm, as well as all the possible charms found across Sanctuary, farming in Diablo 2 becomes a really fun experience. But not all of it is perfect, as even if the Resurrected version had a nice tab to show more advanced stats on your character, there are still a lot of informations missing, or even misleading concerning the stats of items. Like the attack speed, which cannot be compared from one type of item to another, Mace and Sword for example, or the whole thing about faster cast rate and faster hit recovery, that will only make a real difference when you reach certain numbers, which varies from one class to another. So be prepared to make research online, as all these information are not shown inside the game.
Not even death can save you from me.
Now the last thing I want to touch on is the somewhat limited endgame content in Diablo 2 Resurrected, and some will disagree with me on this point, but the majority of endgame is based on item farming, which is not a problem by itself for an action RPG, but the main way to do it in Diablo 2 is to farm bosses and zones over and over again, making new games to reset those monsters and going on in an eternal attempt to find the Holy Grail. And I know it's the core aspect of most of these games, but Diablo 2 doesn't have much more than that to offer. No endless dungeons, no map like Path of Exile, nor greater rifts like Diablo 3. And it's a chance that maps are randomly generated, as it would get boring really fast otherwise. Now the only real challenge comes with the Uber, which is a specific level filled with insanely strong bosses, namely Mr. Diablo, Mephisto and Baal, in which you can drop a very strong charm called the Torch. But beware, getting to this level also requires a lot of boss farming to find specific keys and organs to finally open the last and decisive portal to what will most likely result in the premature death of your powerful hero. Unless you play a paladin. And some rumors also speak about a secret level where bovine creatures darkly summoned from hell are gathering to give nightmares to players. But the reality is that there is no such foul thing. Or is it? In conclusion, despite all of the above and a little annoying bug that happens from time to time when playing online, I think this remastered version of Diablo 2 offers a great experience for anyone who seeks a fun and challenging action RPG. My name is Jim, and let's meet again in another world for another review.